Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is presented by Sparks Hockey. Go to sparkshockey.com. Sunset Lake CBD. Go to sunsetlakecbd.com/morning brew. Use the code BRU20 for 20% off. Copeland Automotive Group. You can count on Copeland. Check out countoncopeland.com. And Fazenda Coffee. Go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. Welcome into Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We've got Razor on the road from Quebec City. We're going to get into that. Got a lot to get to. No Bruins, obviously. If you follow us, you know that the Bruins are off, just like the rest of the league, until the end of February, as the Olympics are in full swing. We finally had hockey this week, both men's and women's. Everything gets going full throttle. A lot to talk about. Beanpot and Bruins prospects. And I mean, I got a bunch of other stuff I want to get into too, but welcome into Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor here on EEI. Before we get into all that stuff, why is Razor in Quebec City? Well, it's for the one and only Pee Wee Tournament International, or International Pee Wee Tournament, however you want to say it. How's it going up there so far, Razor?
We've lucked out with weather. Weather's unbelievable. Nice and crisp outside, but sunny all day, both days. We got our big game tonight. So they won the exhibition game yesterday, which was nice. Everyone's in a good mood and happy. We've got some things to clean up as a team, and we'll find out if any of that pays off tonight at 8:30 in the big arena.
It is quite the event up in Quebec City. I talked about it a couple of years ago when my son Jake was fortunate enough to go there. It has become the mega uber youth hockey event around the world, or at least one of them. It's been going, how many years is it now? It's
66 this
66
season.
66 years. So the Mario Lemieux anniversary. Right. And it's just become off the charts fun. It is not always fun for parents. It's a little bit crazy, a little bit. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. There's a lot of money being spent up there too. But you're in the early stages of it so far. Do you feel like you've been there for 5 or 10 days already, though? That's the thing I remember about it.
No question. Yeah, no question at all. We haven't even played a game, and it feels like it's been 2 weeks. I'm ready to go home. So again, the kids are excited, and that's great. But yes, it's a lot of work for everyone else involved. No question.
Yeah, and the Boston Junior Eagles, the team that Razor and Decky, his son, are representing. A team that has had a lot of success up there, and so it really is a fun event, and it oozes hockey up there.
Yes.
If you haven't been there, folks, what'd you make it in? I know you didn't take the Prius because you took the whole family. What'd you make it in? 6.5, 7 hours?
6.5. Yeah, 6.5, 6:45. It was a little slow once it got dark. It got snowy, and we slowed down a little bit. But to your point of hockey, driving around today. Guys coming off of work, they've got their stick, they've got their skates, they're walking together to go play a little shinny after an afternoon practice, afternoon work, go to have a few beers after that. It's just everyone's walking around with hockey skates, everyone's going to the outdoor rinks. They're all over the place. It is very Canadiana and very hockeyana.
Have the kids hit the outdoor rinks yet? The ODRs, as the kids say, or is it too early in the event where you're like, save the skates for the sharpening that they're going to need to be done? Wait a couple of days till the first. You play exhibition games and then you have an official game. That's Correct. What you guys are coming up to. So you've had your exhibition so far, but now the big one's coming up.
Yeah, we're waiting for the official first. Evie and I are going to Evie's here, my daughter, and so we're going to go a little bit later before the real game, and I'm going to take her and we're going to cruise around a little bit. So got to keep her busy too, which is just that added a part of the parenting that takes involved of this weekend. It's it's something. It's cool though. We'll get through it, and we got hockey to watch. That's the good news. Yes. We got Olympic hockey to watch, and there's a ton of that going on now.
All the time, hockey 24/7 there, no question about it. USA and Canada off to their good starts. We've had goal reviews. Controversy. I don't think there was controversy in the USA game. Do you think those goals disallowed in the first game were controversial? They play their second game later in the day, but it's coming up. But in theory, I didn't think. I mean, it's the IHF rules, right? I mean, if you're in the crease, you're in the crease. We're talking about their first game, folks. Where what was it? Halfway through the first period, I think it was, Razor. They had 2 goals that were overturned. One via offside review, and the other player in the crease.
Yeah, and then on top of it, it's Latvia, so it's not controversial when you're playing Latvia. You're basically getting your feet wet and understanding what I can get away with and what I can't with these IHF rules. And had it been a gold medal game, then we're talking a completely different thing. But these guys will get that sorted out over the next 10 days on what they can do, what they can't do, and how they can play around and within these rules.
Do you think it's good for the U.S. team? I do. I'll start with, I think it's good for the U.S. team to have been challenged early on a bit. I mean, it's like the NCAA basketball tournament, right? Or even like the NCAA hockey tournament, albeit that's a smaller scale. Those first games often, first 2 games often have that challenge of we're into it, but we're not as sharp as we need to be. And I'd actually prefer the games to be close. By the way, there were times in that first Canada game where even though they were playing that what I thought was a pretty good team in Czechia, they looked, I don't want to say bored, but they were just at times toying with them, partner.
They were. Canada's. It's that thing, right? Like, I knew what they did in the 4 Nations, and I know what it looked like, but you take for granted how great they are as individual players on a nightly basis in the NHL, and how well that, like, just how good they are. And then when they're all in the same line doing the same thing, it's just like, wow. And there was no question. They were cat playing with a mouse. Like, they are absolutely toying with Czechia, which, again, every time David was out there, they kind of created, but beyond that, they just didn't have the level to play with them. But yeah, you do want to be challenged. You want to have a little adversity. The coaching staffs definitely do, because they want to be able to put some video together for how we're going to be better and what we're going to need to do better. Because this tournament's longer than 4 Nations, but it also comes pretty quickly for everybody.
Yeah, no question. And the other teams they're buoyed by their fans, by the hope that all you need is a hot goalie, I guess, and just a couple of, and fluke goals aren't the right term, but timely goals is probably the way to say it, to stay in it. There's going to be an upset somewhere. I mean, you could argue that Finland losing their first game to Slovakia was a big upset. And there's some pretty darn good Slovakian hockey players out there, given one Zdeno Chara, for instance, or a Marian Hossa, but the depth isn't there. By the way, Finland comes back and wins their second game over Sweden. I've only seen highlights. It's hard with the time difference and everything to catch all of them right now, but it doesn't feel like Sweden's into a groove yet, Razor. It just doesn't. That's such a major rivalry game, and people that did watch Sweden and Finland said that it was off the charts, intense and physical, and the fans and everything they expect. But Finland, that was a good comeback for them against Sweden.
It was, and they needed it more because they had lost that first game. You really get stuck behind the 8 ball if you go 1-2 or 0-for, of course. Sweden, to your point, they really grinded out against Italy. That was surprising. 2-2 early in the third period. So no, they were considered the bronze lock. I think the majority, or at least the money was saying that, and they haven't looked great. So I agree with you completely. There's going to be more upsets, and like a real upset, or in the quarterfinals, it won't be chalk. I don't think it's the top 4 that go through at quarterfinals. Something quirky is going to happen there, and maybe even further through the tournament.
So what's it like? You mentioned, we in Quebec City, it's hockey. And again, what I was saying is, you made it in 7 hours. If you haven't been there, folks, and a lot of people from Boston area, and I know we hit a lot further than just the Boston area with regard to listeners, but if you live in the area, go up there. It's a great 3-day place. It's fantastic. Like, how's the energy up there as far as Team Canada goes?
No, it's everywhere. You have Team Canada everywhere. You have a lot of Canadian jerseys, of course, and Carnival's this week. So there's a lot of people from out of town in town here in Quebec City. It's a lot bigger than I remember it. There's a lot more to do, to your point, and everybody, a lot of people go to Montreal. It really is worth the extra couple hours to go to Bergie's hometown because it's different. It's more European even than Montreal, and but there's a vibe of hockey. I think it's for the Canadians. They're kind of looking ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like Team Canada it might not be, but Canadian, the population as a whole, are looking ahead to at least the quarterfinals, if not the semis and the finals. Because this is, if they don't win gold, they might as well not even be in the tournament. There's no moral victories for this group, and that's the difference that Canada has than other teams have. They have all the talent, they have the best players, but they also have quite a great deal of pressure.
Speaking of pressure, great segue for me.
Yes,
Parker. Thank you. Jordan Binnington gets named starting goaltender in that. Let's just talk game one. Because I want to get to game one for both Canada and U.S. Because the decisions to start Binnington and then Hellebuck for the U.S. Were they interesting? Were they obvious? I don't think the U.S. choice was obvious. I do think Canada was much more. I was fine. When I mean fine, meaning like I got it. I totally understood that one. Hellebuck, we talked a couple of times. I thought Swayman absolutely deserved to get the first as much as Hellebuck did, if not more, I felt, just given his play. Let's just start with the Binnington choice. Did that surprise you at all? It didn't surprise me.
No, I had him there the whole time. What he did for Nations, what he's done Stanley Cup. Yes, he's not playing very well in St. Louis, but the team's not very good in front of him, and he hasn't played a big game. But when there is a big game, he's there, and him getting a shutout just proves that he is Canada's goaltender. He is going to be the guy that they rely on. Now the stories kind of come out afterwards that he and John Cooper have met a few times through the season and had some beers, and he knew he was the guy. And he's the big game hunter. He is for Team Canada, and until he loses one of these big games, it's his job.
Yeah, he's earned it enough. He has the results. That's now using that theory though. Hellebuck hasn't gotten the results.
No.
Right? So that's why maybe it surprised me a bit, given that I felt that Swayman had actually, not to just the World Championships, but I felt that was a big enough deal to really have a big consideration for him being the first game starter.
Yeah, I think there's being the Hart Trophy, just it really and playing all the four nations still trumps World Championships at this point. Okay. But to that point, like if you ask me which team has an opportunity to flip more, it is Team USA, and it is Jeremy Swayman from my point of view, in that Hellebuck he doesn't even have to lose one of these games to not play again. I think they would be open to watching Swayman play great whenever he gets an opportunity, because I do think he's the guy who comes in and plays one of these games coming up. They could decide at the core to say, hey, we want to go this way. More so than Binnington. I mean, again, Binnington, he's got it and until they lose, and then that'll switch whenever the next tournament is. I think you could see a change from Team USA within the tournament because of Hellebuck's play this year and because of Swayman's play.
Does it mean anything that Hellebuck backed up? I'm sorry, that Swayman backed up Hellebuck in game one? It
means everything. Yeah, it means everything. He's the number. Then you're in the number two, because again, last year he was the number three, flat out. Ottinger was the number two. Ottinger got to play the extra game. When you're sitting on the bench, you're the two, no question. And I don't think we see Ottinger at all.
So later Saturday, this afternoon they have the game against Denmark, or I don't know the exact time. Jeez, I should again. I'm off. It's coming up. But they haven't announced, right? I haven't seen an announcement for goalie. Have you?
No, nothing. I haven't seen anything at all. Okay. So
it's early though. So I guess you never know. All right.
Correct.
So, but I think Sway gets a game. I do at some point. I mean, I guess if he doesn't, that's a great sign for the U.S. team. I guess that means that they're totally riding Hellebuck. Super quick, do you have flashbacks to your short time spent in Milano as a hockey player now that you're seeing a lot of this, or?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen, you see the obviously the Duomo, spent a million hours down there hanging out, eating gelato and drinking coffee. But yeah, it's just a cool place. More so the mountains. Spent a lot of time up near Cortina and playing all the towns around there, but also vacationing up there. So that part of the world is beautiful as anywhere else. And so I'm enjoying like the cross country skiing, all those, you can see them up in the mountains, the jumps. That's warms my heart a little bit, I guess you could say. I love my 9 months over there.
I'm sure it was a ton of fun. We can get in some hockey talk about what your experience was like that as well. All right, coming up after the break, I also want to get into a lot of Bruins prospect stuff because, Razor, you and I just did the Beanpot, and we saw a lot of the Bruins prospects, and obviously this show relates an awful lot to that. So maybe we bring it back to that. We'll do some more Olympic talk as well. You're listening to Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor here on EEI. All right, welcome back. Saturday Morning Brew, Jaffe and Razor here. Razor, the other day, as I said, you and I, the other day being specifically past Monday, previous 2 Mondays to be specific, we covered the Beanpot on Nesson. And it was more like the Boston Bruin Beanpot this year, as the Bruins had, 6 prospects in the event? I mean, Oskar Jelvik didn't play, hasn't played. A little concerning. He's been out for a while for Boston College. BC ends up winning the Beanpot, by the way, but some really good performances. BC plays BU in the final. I don't know if you had a chance to see it or not, folks, but BU started well in game 1, and I don't think BC played well for most of the first period at all. Although they did kill off 3 BU power plays. I don't know if that was an indictment on BU's power play or if it was the penalty kill by BC, Razor. Not sure which one was better or perhaps more challenged. Regardless, the game changed late in the first and then really, in my opinion, changed in the second when BC took over. James Hagens, Dean Letourneau, Andre Gasseau, in particular, to me, stood out. And I think made a case to say, well, we knew that their depth was better, but to me, it's like I think they've got, this is probably a stupid sounding comment, but 3 legit prospects out of those guys. What they all end up being when it's all said and done, there's still a lot of runway to go, partner. But I was highly encouraged watching them play. What about you?
You have to be. You absolutely have to be. They've taken huge strides. They continue to develop well. They continue to go in the right direction. And when you compare the 3 of them and what they did in this year's Beanpot to what we've watched other pro guys that are in the National Hockey League do over those 2 Mondays in the start of February, that the 2 of us have together over the last 7, 8 years that we've been doing. You've been doing it much longer than I have, but I compare those 3 guys, their performances to other guys that are playing in the league and are pros. And there's no doubt that the level was close, if not the same, or if not a little ahead of some of these other guys that are in the National League right now. So really encouraging stuff. I'm fascinated, really fascinated with what happens with Hagens in the next 6 weeks. Really interested as a top 7 pick. Does he come in? Does he sign? He's playing the wing? I don't have any answers to how they're going to play this out with their prospects and when they're going to turn them loose. But that's the most intriguing part of it, because again, I think they're all right there.
Well, there's no question that, Hagens is the big one, not literally, because he's the smallest of the 3. But he's the biggest name, perhaps the best known. I think there's an argument to be made for the Dean machine. The Dean machine, thank you. Yes, has really blossomed this year. The fan support, it's been highly robust surrounding him. But let's start with James Hagens. You bring up a couple of things. he can sign whenever, but he's going to finish the year at Boston College. How far do they go? Do they make it all the way to the Frozen Four? If they do, you're talking the second weekend in April. So that would coincide basically with the end of the Bruins regular season. However, given that BC is good and not great, at least so far, and they still got some time left, a couple of weeks left in the regular season, to establish themselves higher in what is called the national power, the index for the NCAA, for the NCAA tournament. They could be out. I mean, they're going to play in Hockey East, but if they don't win that and they don't do well, they might not make the tournament. There's no lock for them. So they could be done by near the end of March, like the third week of March. So what happens basically is the question. You brought it up. You're fascinated by that. I can't imagine that he doesn't want to come out and sign. I can't imagine that. I don't know him personally. Don't talk to him, but I can't imagine, just given other players before him and I think where he thinks he's at. Gets an NHL contract, perhaps gets a few games, see how he does. Is he ready to step into the National Hockey League? Holy smokes, is that a big step? Yep. Is that a mega step for him? I know a lot of people compare, not him, but others to, Macklin Celebrini did it. Macklin is a unicorn.
Yes.
He's a unicorn, folks. If you're expecting the same thing to happen, I'd say do not hold your breath on that. That is not meant to put down another player. That's just reality. Macklin Celebrini's at a different level. Can Hagens come in, though, and make a difference? I think, Razor, if he's going to, or help it up, I think it is going to be on wing, though. You brought that up, too, more so than center. That's my initial take.
That's has to be the reason why he's over there playing for the Boston College Eagles. He's been a center his entire life. He moves over there. I think if you're going to come and play in the NHL this year, if you're going to come and play games, if you're going to be a pro, we don't have room for you in the center ice position right now. So let's get over on the wing and let's get adjusted to that and figure out how to play there at the college level to be able to move up. I don't recall a top 10 player not coming out after his first year if he hadn't been in the NHL already over the last half a dozen years. And the other guy, the BC player that this recently happened to is Ryan Leonard. I don't think James Hagens Ryan Leonard right now either. So you could talk about Celebrini all you want. That, like you just said, as an app, that's gonzo. This Celebrini, that's different. Leonard's even different from my point of view as well. He's not physically strong as Ryan Leonard. He didn't score as much at college as Ryan Leonard has over 2 years. I don't think they're the same player. And Ryan Leonard struggled to be a playoff performer, to be a helpful cog in Washington. And a lot of people thought he would, but he was just a fourth line guy who brought energy. So again, all of these things aren't to slight James Hagens. It's just we haven't seen the Bruins do this. We haven't seen them work a guy like this into, and I'm really curious how they do it.
Well, I think they give him taste. Again, it'll really depend on when it is, meaning what the literal date of when it is. Where are the Bruins at in the standings too? Let's not forget that. Let's not put the player ahead of the betterment of the team.
Correct.
And the Bruins are not going to do that. And again, not slighting the player that we're talking about. We're talking about if they continue to do well, that's got to take priority over anything else. There's no question about it. You may have back-to-backs where you need somebody and that kind of works out. And you say, here's your taste, go enjoy it, everything. But it's got to work for the team.
Yeah, that's the other huge factor in this. If it was last season and the Bruins are 20 games out of a playoff position and they don't have any players to play anyways, then Hagens moves right in and he gets his time and then he goes to Providence and plays in the playoffs and that's how it worked. That's why that makes it just as interesting because what they do at the deadline, number one, that's a whole piece right there. Do we expect them to get better at the deadline? We expect them to go get a few pieces at the deadline, which would affect James Hagens because I think they would love to have a scoring winger, another guy who can push at the NHL level on one of the wings. That would put another guy ahead of where Hagens is right now. So how does that shake out? And then again, if you're the Boston Bruins and you're Marco Sturm and you've been telling these guys for 72 2 games at that point. Every point matters. Every game matters. And then to work this college kid into a lineup that's 3 points up of a playoff spot, that's really difficult to do as an organization. You typically, and again, you just said, you're 100% right. You don't put a prospect ahead of the organization. You don't put a prospect ahead of David Pasternak and Jeremy Swayman and making the playoffs. It doesn't work like that in this kind of situation. So all of these factors are just putting a really interesting judgment call and decision coming up for everybody.
Yeah, and I think it's the type of thing that does work itself out.
It always does. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And it's not the end of the world, too, if he signs and he practices a couple of days with the Bruins and then gets sent to the American League and just play there.
Not at all. Yeah,
if that happens, it's fine. Again, we keep emphasizing it's not a slight. I mean, it's like, hey, this is part of the process, kid.
Yep.
And let's see. But so many factors for him. Let's slide over to the Dean Machine, who I thought looked really good in the first game and not as noticeable in the second. Got going, maybe kind of almost symbolic, I thought, Razor, of the team of the Eagles in game 2. It took a lot of them to get going, except for Andre Gasseau. He seemed to be more involved, and we'll touch on Andre, the not giant, but the big guy in a bit. But Dean Letourneau, we've both seen him already this year. We've talked a little bit about how his stride and his power is better. He's infinitely stronger physically, which makes him infinitely stronger mentally and confidence-wise. You want to talk about seeing a difference in a kid that's gone from, kind of that shy, meek is probably a fair word to use from his first year, to where he is now, which is confident, engaging, demanding, actually at times, Razor, at watching him, demand the puck, calling for it, and interior. That's the other word that kept coming to my mind, watching him, especially in the first game, getting middle ice, bringing the play, the puck to him there in the middle of the ice.
So much more involved. And again, everybody who's listening probably knows Dean's story just a little bit because they heard the criticism last year. He just shouldn't have been there last year. And it's even more evident now with his 15, 16 goals that he just shouldn't have been there last season. And it was an unfortunate situation, but he developed and he got better for it. Most of these kids never have to go through any struggles till they go to pro hockey. Dean did. I think that's going to absolutely make him a better player out of the gates to have gone through that. And I think we're seeing it even just now, how much better he is because of going through all of that. So he's got his chest puffed out now. And the huge difference is just interior ice. He didn't get to the middle. He couldn't get to the middle because of his speed and because of his physicality last season. Now he's in the middle of everything. Now he's in front of the net and he's allowing his creativity, which he does have a lot of for a big man, to take over. So he's a great prospect. Like he has the body, the physique to do he could play. There's a chance he could be 1-2. He could play 12 of the 14 positions in the NHL forward group. Like, I don't know if he's a number 1 center right now or if he ever will be, but he could do pretty much everything else. So you could even say 13 positions of 14 he can fit in and do something in the NHL. You were involved a little bit with UConn. I don't remember how many years ago it was, but a lot about Tage Thompson. Do you buy the comparison? Do you, Tage always had a missile of a shot. Yeah,
that was his calling card. I think Dean's shot is good to very good. There's very few that have the release that Tage Thompson does. Now, Tage has developed into really a beautiful player in the National Hockey League, but it took some time to.
Oh, yeah.
And take that element out of it because there's very few that have the shot that Tage has. Do you buy the other comparison?
Well, I buy the comparison of being an 18-year-old kid in college hockey and trying to figure it out at that size. So physically you look like you should be able to get around and get to your spots and do the things you want a player like that to do. Tage couldn't do it, and Dean couldn't do it at that age. And with that came, well, is he soft? Is he, can he work hard enough? Can he get his body to work hard enough? Those kind of questions I think both players have had at that point in their careers, in the college careers. The comparison, I'm having a hard time with the comparison only because I can't get Tage's shot out of my mind, because he could rip it at 18. It was what it is. It's elite, and it was elite the whole time. And then on the flip side, Dean's much more imposing. He's bigger. Tage was skinny like me. He was really tall, and he could shoot it really hard, but he couldn't enforce the same way that Letourneau is here right now. So I guess the trajectory of how they're working through college hockey, that comparison works. What they're going to be in the NHL, I don't think they're going to play similar games.
I think Tage Thompson has become he's an all-star player. He's obviously one of the best in the world playing in the Olympics. I think if Letourneau can get close,
correct.
Just crazy stuff. I know people want to talk about that comparison. I'm nowhere near ready to go there, though. No. I'm just not, given. I guess it's because we know what Thompson has become, and Letourneau is still almost a blank canvas, which is really good news too, because he's going to get even stronger this offseason. I'd be shocked. I don't see him leaving. I want him to stay at least one more year and be the leader of that team and do even more. And I don't want to say I don't care about the wins and losses, but I don't really know if I care about the wins and losses. I know the BC people do. I want to see him take one more year of gigantic, literally and figuratively, big steps. And then, then your next step. That's what I think. One guy who has now spent 4 years at BC is Andre Gasseau, a 7th-round pick from many years ago for the Bruins. The kid's impressive, though. I feel like he's improved his skating. He still has more ways to go. I actually think, Razor, he's kind of played himself into a potential depth player for the Boston Bruins. And years ago, I'm not sure if people would say that. But I think he has, and he's a difference maker in the Beanpot, no doubt about it. He was for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and he's got character, he's got leadership qualities. Mark McLaughlin comes to mind, but more upside because of his size and a lot of his skill. I think Mark was a good, smart hockey player who worked hard, who put himself in scoring positions. He found ways to score. I think Gasseau has a much higher ceiling than that, but very similar right now in that he can come out and absolutely make a difference for Providence. He's got the pro body type, pro shot. He can win face-offs. That I see translating. I see him going to Providence and having a good finish. And come training camp next year, you're looking at him as being the first, second, third call-up kind of situation where he's going to grow into this and become better and better. And you have a good prospect for 7th round, or is he a 5th rounder? I don't have my notes.
I thought he was a 7th rounder.
7th rounder, yeah. So that's great work. That's great business to have that guy as one of your 52 players.
He can play center. He is Correct. A center.
He is a center.
So he can slide to the wing if necessary, but he's got the center game down. He's gotten better. He was injured this year for a while. That's why games played are fewer, but he's over a point a game since he's been back too. So what does that translate to in the NHL or pro hockey in general? Not sure, but he's at least a legit prospect. And that's the thing. You have to start as a draft pick, then you got to work your way up into somebody they're interested in that they would want to sign. And then even when they sign you, are you considered a prospect or a legit prospect type of thing? And he's a legit prospect. So good for him. California kid. I know people at BC think very highly of him. I thought the Konstantinsky kid, I hope I'm saying that right, the big defenseman, Swedish kid, 6'6", 230, 235 already. He's young, 20 years old, I think. Not bad footwork for a kid that size, but he's got some years to go. But I like him more than I thought I might. I also really like the Morello kid, Jonathan Morello from BU, 5th round pick from last year. Very consistent game. Very reliable game. A long way to go, though. But what
Mhm.
I'm saying is, I look at it and I say, you can see it playing out 4 years from now. That's the kind of game he has already that you say, okay, it translates to pro game. Does that just mean American League? Who the hell knows? But again, there looks to be legit potential in that opportunity there.
No, that's it. And you kind of work the ladder out. These are real baby steps, and then at one point as a prospect, you have to take the jump to impress everybody, and then you have to do the same thing when you get to pro hockey. And very rarely is even Fraser Minton. We love Fraser Minton, but he was in the minors last year and he got traded, and
Right.
like it wasn't automatic. So these guys have long ways to go, but from 2.5 years ago to where the Bruins are now in the pipeline, at least I'm willing to talk about these guys. They're like, I don't
Right.
think I was willing to talk about any of these players 2.5 years ago when we talked about prospects and draft pick. Like, get rid of all of them because I don't see anything there. You're starting to see some things here that are going to become assets, if at the very least.
Well, they're already assets right now, all
Yeah.
of them, because they carry high value.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They carry high value. And you talked about last segment about potential, Bruins potentially making them, or it was earlier in this segment, making themselves better via trades before the deadline, which is March 7th. Could one of these guys be in play? And why not? I mean, if there's a big, they're not doing rentals. You and I already talked about that. They're looking to make trades that have value for the future. You may have to give up something. They didn't have this last year. Hagens trades changes the equation for them with that big pick, 7th overall last year, but also having Letourneau blossom like he has also trades it for them, changes it for them. So now there's trade opportunity there. So it's all good, legit stuff for this team because it improves their stock. It improves their ability to make things happen, whether it's on the ice or via trade. It's all good stuff.
Yep. Really does. It really does. And that's what good organizations do.
All right, coming up after the break here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, we're going to do the Apex Entertainment most entertaining moment of the week. So I'm giving you a second to think about it, partner. Maybe it's you in Quebec City. Maybe it's something one of the other hockey dads have done, for all I know. I don't know. We'll have something coming up. And then we'll wrap up the show. You're listening to Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor here on EEI. All right, welcome back in last segment here, Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Have you had, by the way, Razor, in Quebec City, have you had any good food yet? Have you been able to do that or not yet? The dinners, the lunches, or anything?
We had a dinner last night, the Parmesan that you guys went to.
There.
Yeah, we did. The
Is
team
the wacky
dinner last
owner
night.
Still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. The hair's everywhere. It's awesome. So we did that. That was great. The accordion was playing. The kids had a blast. We had a great table, had some fun with that last night. So that one's in the books. And then we've got a couple more over the next few days. Nothing tonight though. So I'll keep you updated for sure as we go.
If you can, get to Ophelia, and they had a great
that's the one.
tomahawk steak. It was outstanding. Again, baby. I don't remember much thing in this world, but good food I remember. All right, time for our Apex. Most entertaining plays, plural, or moments of the week, brought to you by Apex Entertainment. Visit 100,000 square feet of pure fun. Apex in Marlborough, and be sure to pick up a gift card there and have your parties, etc. It's just an awesome place. All right, what was your most entertaining moment? I think we'd probably agree. Something with Team USA.
Yeah, we got to stay Team USA. As good as the Beanpot was, and that was fun on Monday. We already touched on all of that. So go to Team USA and their video game goal, I suppose you would call it, against Latvia. That was ridiculous. The skill we're seeing when these guys play together, and the different ways to make plays that they just can't do with normal NHL players. And I say that, of course, with all due respect, as I was one of those normal guys. That play was awesome. Brock Nelson scoring that goal. Everybody touched it on the ice, and 6 passes, empty net. That stuff's awesome.
And he was played beautifully in that game, and he had a goal eliminated.
He has changed my view of him in a big boy. Oh boy, I did not see it. Again, he was in New York, so it was different. But I didn't see what Colorado saw, especially signing him.
I had the same conversation. In fact, just in the last day with somebody. 3 years, $7 million per year. They moved Charlie Coyle. They established Brock Nelson. They said, you're going to be our number 2 center. And he has been fantastic for them.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And he's doing it at this level too. So he's the guy. They're the team. I bet they'll be the apex entertaining moment next week somehow as well.
Team USA plays again today at 3:10 Eastern time against the Freddie Anderson, Lars Eller. I don't think Franz Nielsen anymore. Danish squad. I don't think so. But they're going for their second win. Canada has 2 wins, so they're going. As we mentioned earlier, Finland 1-1. Sweden's been so far, but a lot of hockey still left to be played in their preliminary round. So again, 3:10 is when the U.S. Team ends up playing. So that'll be something that,
they got to score a lot of goals, right? Because we're dealing with goal differential here for the seedings as this goes along. So they're going to want to put a bunch up against the Danes for sure.
Yeah. I'm actually going to miss it. I'm taking Jake after his game up to Burlington. We're going to go to UVM. They've got a game. They're playing Lowell, UMass Lowell. And then after that game, it's father-son type trip. We're heading to the next day, on tomorrow, Sunday, to Drummondville to go watch a Quebec game.
Dude, you're 45 minutes from us. Just keep coming. And
we thought about it, and we'll see where we Drummondville. The fact that they're playing tomorrow is beneficial. They're actually playing Quebec City.
Yeah, that's right. The Remparts are on, and then they play Tuesday. Drummondville Rempart are in Quebec City. So if we're still kicking, then that might be something we do.
So that's our trip. So we're gonna miss all the Olympic. Jake and I are gonna get away for a little bit and go do something instead of sitting at home for a couple of days and watching them play video games. How's that?
Good for you guys. Good for him.
Yes, very good for him. All right, so the Bruins announced they're coming back. What is it? The 18th, their first practice. Not that I want to get too much into the breeze, only because a couple of weeks away still. But I mean, how do you think the players are going to take that mini camp? It's going to be a training camp basically for those guys. I mean, I'm asking you to put yourself in those guys' position, so to speak. I think they'll be excited, but it's going to be weird. There's not going to be that many full squads.
Well, that's the difference, right? Some teams are going to have full teams. Bruins have a lot of guys away, so that changes the way the coaches coach and lines and what they do. But as a player, you're excited the first few days because you got to pay the piper for your days off and your vacation. You got to really put the boots to the ground and really work to get yourself back to the level that the guys are playing at over in Milano right now. So you understand that as a pro early on, and then by the end of training camp, probably more likely the middle of training camp, you're ready to get that over with and get to playing games again. You're going to be sick of it after 5 days. First few days, you're excited to be back with the guys and tell everyone about your trip and get to work, and then you're going to be sick of it after that.
Yeah, they won't skate every day. They'll have at least 1, if not 2 days off for recovery. They'll be getting themselves back at it. It'll be interesting to see also how many players, I don't know, are they even allowed to call players? They're probably not from Providence at that time. I don't think they are. There's no movement allowed at that time. So there'll be some, Razor, you have to put the pants.
Got a chance. No goalies there. Who are the goalies going to be? That's a good question. They don't even have a goalie.
Rask and Raycroft.
No, you're going to want.
I'm skating twice a week. I'm not going to net. I mean, that would
might as well put a shooter tutor out there.
You're going to do that.
There you go.
David Pastrnak scored his first goal of the Olympics on Friday, and so he got Czechia, who at one point was actually down 3-2 to France in that game. They had to come back and win in that game, so he had a couple of points with 1 goal in that game. I don't have the other numbers in front of me. I know Lindholm, I think in the Finland game, Elias Lindholm had 13 minutes or so in that game. So a ton of hockey still left to go. A ton of hockey for the Boston Junior Eagles. Let's wrap up this Saturday morning brew with Jaffe and Razor for the Boston Junior Eagles. You guys are going to get after it. The way it goes in the event up there is it's the second game of the real hockey, not the exhibition hockey, that matters the most. Win or lose the first game, you either go to the winner's side or the loser's side. And whatever happens after the second game of what matters most, you are not there yet.
No.
So, just good luck with everything. When we sit down and chat next Saturday for Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, we will, if you're still up there, it'll be a great sign.
Wow, I'll be conflicted by next. Yes, I'll be very conflicted if I'm still here next Saturday.
It's funny how yes, you will be irritable, Razor.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You may actually jump into the car just to take a road trip back.
I might be like, hey, I got to go work. I got to get to the studio. I'll drive back later just to get some quiet time.
I'll see you after that. I'm going to go take a 24-hour hiatus. And you know what the best part is? You know what she would say? Goodbye.
Yes,
see you later.
She's already had enough of me.
All right, we're going to say goodbye too here. Thanks for listening, everybody. Here on Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor on EEI. Have a great week. Go Boston Junior Eagles. Have a great time up there. Go Team USA. I'm sure you want to say go Team Canada. Go ahead, Razor. You're more than welcome.
There you go. Go Team Canada. Let's get this gold medal game going.
All right, we'll talk to you folks next week.